Welcome back, Rare Coin Insider. Imagine reaching into your pocket, pulling out what looks like an ordinary penny, and suddenly realizing that this tiny copper-colored coin could be worth an unimaginable fortune, possibly even life-changing money. And today we are diving deep into the fascinating world of the 1-cent USA 2000D coin, a coin that most people overlook every single day, yet it holds secrets, stories, and in some rare cases, values that have shocked collectors and sparked intense curiosity across the world, because while millions of these coins were produced, not all of them are created equal, and that is where the mystery truly begins as we explore every detail from its design to its composition, from its historical background to the rumors of extremely high valuations that have captured the imagination of collectors and treasure hunters alike. To truly understand the significance of the 2000D penny, we have to go back to the basics of what this coin actually is, because on the surface it appears simple, just a 1-cent coin minted in the year 2000 at the Denver Mint, indicated by the small D mint mark located just below the date on the obverse side, but beneath this simplicity lies a deeper story tied to American history, economics, and coin production changes that occurred in the late 20th century, making this coin part of a much larger narrative that connects generations of currency evolution. The design of the 2000D penny carries forward one of the most iconic images in American coinage, featuring the profile of Abraham Lincoln on the front, a design that has been in use since 1909, originally introduced to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Lincoln's birth, and this was actually the first time a real historical figure appeared on a circulating U.S. coin, which makes every Lincoln penny, including the 2000D, part of a legacy that spans over a century. And when you look closely at the obverse, you will notice Lincoln's calm and thoughtful expression, facing to the right, with the word Liberty inscribed to the left, the year 2000 to the right, and above his head the motto, "In God We Trust," all carefully engraved with precision that reflects the craftsmanship of modern minting technology. Turning the coin over reveals the reverse design known as the Lincoln Memorial, which was used from 1959 until 2008, and this is where things become even more interesting because if you look very closely at the Lincoln Memorial depiction, you can actually see a tiny representation of Lincoln seated inside the memorial, making this one of the few coins in the world that features the same person on both sides, a subtle but fascinating detail that many people never notice. And surrounding the memorial are the inscriptions, "United States of America" at the top, "E Pluribus Unum" above the memorial, and 1 cent boldly written at the bottom, clearly defining its denomination. Now let's talk about the physical characteristics of this coin, because they play a major role in its identity and potential value. The 2000D penny is composed primarily of zinc, about 97.5%, with a thin copper plating making up the remaining 2.5%, a composition that was introduced in 1982 when the U.S. Mint shifted away from solid copper pennies due to rising metal costs, and this change significantly altered the weight of the coin, bringing it down to approximately 2.5 grams, compared to the older copper pennies, which weighed about 3.11 grams, and this difference might seem small, but for collectors, even such minor details can be incredibly important when identifying rare variations or errors. The diameter of the coin is about 19.05 millimeters, with a smooth edge rather than a reeded one, and its overall appearance is a familiar reddish-brown when new, although over time it can darken due to oxidation, creating a range of tones from bright copper to deep brown, and sometimes even mixed coloring known as red-brown, which is another factor collectors pay close attention to, because the color condition of a coin can significantly impact its value in the market. But here is where things start to get truly intriguing, because while the majority of 2000D pennies are extremely common, with billions produced, certain rare variations, minting errors, and exceptionally preserved specimens can command prices far beyond their face value, and this is where the idea of a penny being worth thousands or even millions begins to take shape. Although it is crucial to understand that such extreme values are typically tied to very specific conditions, such as unique mint errors, off-center strikes, double dies, or coins struck on the wrong planchet, each of which transforms an ordinary coin into a rare collectible. One of the most talked about aspects of coins, like the 2000 penny, is the concept of grading, which determines a coin's condition on a scale from poor to perfect mint state, often graded by professional organizations, and a coin in pristine, uncirculated condition with full original luster and no visible marks can be worth significantly more than one that has been worn down through years of circulation. And when you combine high-grade condition with a rare error or unusual characteristic, that is when values can skyrocket in ways that seem almost unbelievable. There have been rumors and claims circulating online suggesting that certain 2000 pennies could be worth as much as $12 million. And while such figures are extremely rare and often exaggerated or misunderstood, they do highlight the excitement and speculation that surrounds coin collecting, because every collector dreams of finding that one extraordinary piece that stands out from the rest. And while the average 2000 penny might only be worth 1 cent or slightly more in collectible condition, the possibility of discovering a rare variation keeps people searching through jars, drawers, and old collections with hope and anticipation. What makes this coin even more interesting is its place in the timeline of U.S. currency. Minted at the turn of the millennium, the year 2000 marked a symbolic moment as the world transitioned into a new era, and coins from this year often carry a certain nostalgic or historical appeal, representing a bridge between the past and the future, and for collectors, this adds another layer of significance beyond just monetary value. As we continue deeper into the story of the 2000 penny, we begin to uncover the subtle details and hidden factors that can transform an ordinary coin into something extraordinary, and in the next part, we will explore the rare errors, specific collector discoveries, and the real truth behind those jaw-dropping valuations that have made this coin a topic of fascination across the numismatic world. As we continue deeper into the world of the 2000 penny, the real excitement begins when we step into the realm of mint errors and rare variations, because this is where ordinary coins transform into extraordinary treasures, and for collectors, this is the heart of the hunt, the moment where a simple glance at a coin can turn into a discovery worth hundreds, thousands, or in extremely rare and almost mythical cases, even more, and understanding these errors is absolutely essential if you want to separate a common coin from one that could carry significant value. One of the most fascinating and sought-after types of errors associated with coins like the 2000 penny is the double die error, a phenomenon that occurs during the minting process, when the coin die itself receives a doubled image due to misalignment during its creation, and this results in noticeable doubling on the coin's design elements, especially in the lettering or numbers. So if you ever examine a 2000 penny and notice that the date, the word, Liberty, or even parts of Lincoln's profile appear slightly duplicated or shadowed, you might be looking at something far more valuable than a standard issue coin, and collectors often use magnifying tools to carefully inspect these details because even the smallest variation can make a huge difference. Another category of error that draws attention is the off-center strike, which happens when the blank coin planchet is not properly aligned within the minting press, causing the design to be stamped unevenly, leaving part of the coin blank, and depending on how dramatic the misalignment is, these coins can be incredibly collectible, especially if the date and mint mark are still visible, because that confirms its identity while showcasing the error clearly, and the more visually striking the error, the more appealing it becomes to collectors, who are always searching for unique pieces. Then, there are broad strike errors, where the coin is struck without the retaining collar that normally shapes it, resulting in a coin that appears slightly larger and flatter than usual, with distorted edges, and while these might seem like defects to an untrained eye, in the world of numismatics, they are considered valuable anomalies, pieces of history that reveal the imperfections of an otherwise precise manufacturing process. And each one tells a story of a moment when something went slightly off track inside the mint. Perhaps even more rare and intriguing are coins struck on the wrong planchet, which means the coin was accidentally minted on a blank intended for a different denomination or even a different type of coin altogether. And if a 2000 penny were ever discovered on such an incorrect planchet, it could instantly become one of the most valuable and talked about pieces in the collecting world. Because these kinds of errors are extremely rare and highly desirable, often fetching significant sums at auctions. But beyond errors, condition remains one of the most critical factors in determining the value of any coin, and this is where grading comes into play in a very serious way, because a 2000 penny in circulated condition might barely be worth more than its face value, but the same coin in mint state condition, especially graded MS67 or higher, could be worth a surprising amount. And these high-grade coins are typically those that have never been used in circulation, preserving their original shine, detail, and surface quality, making them highly attractive to collectors who demand perfection. Another important detail collectors look for is the color designation of the coin, categorized as red, red-brown, or brown, and this classification reflects how much of the original copper color remains, with full red coins being the most desirable and valuable, as they appear almost as they did when they first left the mint, glowing with a bright, fresh luster that is incredibly difficult to maintain over time. And this is why coins that have been carefully stored and protected from environmental exposure often command higher prices. Now, when we talk about the idea of a 2000 penny being worth $12 million, it's important to approach this claim with a realistic understanding of the coin market, because while there are indeed coins that have sold for millions, such as extremely rare historical pieces or unique mint errors, the vast majority of 2000 pennies do not fall into this category, and such high valuations would likely only apply to a one-of-a-kind error or a coin with an extraordinary and well-documented history, possibly combined with perfect condition and intense collector demand. However, the reason these claims continue to circulate is because of the thrill and possibility that exists within coin collecting, the idea that something so small and seemingly insignificant could hold immense value, and this sense of mystery keeps people engaged, searching through their change, examining coins under magnification, and learning more about the subtle differences that separate common coins from rare ones. And in many ways, it turns everyday life into a treasure hunt where the reward could be just one discovery away. The 2000 penny also holds significance for collectors who specialize in modern coins, because while older coins often receive more attention, modern issues present their own challenges and opportunities, especially when it comes to finding high-grade specimens or identifying overlooked errors. And as time goes on, even coins from the year 2000 are beginning to age, making pristine examples increasingly harder to find, which can gradually increase their desirability among collectors. And then, there is the emotional and historical connection, because coins are not just pieces of metal, they are artifacts that pass through countless hands, witnessing moments in time, and a penny minted in the year 2000 might have traveled across cities, been part of everyday transactions, or even sat untouched in a jar for years, quietly waiting to be rediscovered. And this journey adds a layer of storytelling that goes beyond monetary value, making each coin unique in its own way. As we move further into the hidden world of the 2000 penny, this is where curiosity turns into real-world action, because collectors across the globe have spent years studying coins just like this, searching through rolls of pennies, bank boxes, and even loose change from everyday purchases, hoping to uncover something unusual. And what makes this journey so fascinating is that many valuable discoveries have actually been made by ordinary people, who simply took the time to look a little closer, proving that you don't need to be a professional numismatist to potentially find something rare. You just need patience, attention to detail, and a bit of knowledge about what to look for. One of the first practical steps in identifying whether your 2000D penny could be valuable is careful visual inspection, and this goes far beyond just glancing at the coin, because experienced collectors often use magnifying glasses or digital microscopes to examine every tiny detail, focusing on the date, mint mark, lettering, and the fine lines of Lincoln's portrait, searching for irregularities that might indicate a minting error. And sometimes these details are so subtle that they can only be seen under magnification, which is why many rare coins go unnoticed for years before finally being discovered. Lighting also plays a crucial role in this process, because different angles of light can reveal hidden features on the coin's surface, such as slight doubling, surface marks, or unusual textures that might not be visible under normal conditions. And collectors often tilt the coin slowly under a light source, watching how the reflections change, almost like uncovering a secret message embedded in the metal. And this careful examination can sometimes reveal characteristics that dramatically increase the coin's value. Another important step is comparing your coin with verified examples, because when you suspect that you might have found something unusual, it is essential to cross-check it against known error types or high-grade specimens, and this is where reference guides, online databases, and collector communities become incredibly valuable, allowing you to match details and confirm whether your coin fits the criteria of a recognized variation or error. And this process not only helps in identification, but also builds your understanding of coin collecting as a whole. Weight testing is another simple yet powerful method that can provide clues about a coin's authenticity and composition, because as mentioned earlier, the standard 2000D penny weighs about 2.5 grams due to its zinc core. So if you happen to find a coin that weighs significantly more or less, it could indicate something unusual, such as a planchet error or a counterfeit. And while this doesn't automatically guarantee high value, it certainly raises interest and warrants further investigation. Then comes the role of professional grading services, which are often the final step in confirming a coin's value, because once you believe you have something special, sending it to a reputable grading organization can authenticate the coin, assign it a grade, and encapsulate it in a protective holder, and this not only preserves the coin, but also increases its credibility in the market, making it easier to sell or auction if you choose to do so. And coins that are certified by well-known grading companies often command higher prices because buyers trust the accuracy of the evaluation. Now, let's talk about real market behavior, because while stories of million-dollar pennies capture attention, the actual coin market operates on a combination of rarity, demand, and condition, and for the 2000D penny, most examples in circulation are extremely common and hold little to no premium value. However, high-grade coins, especially those graded MS66 or MS67 with full red color, can sell for noticeably higher amounts compared to ordinary pennies, sometimes reaching into the tens or even hundreds of dollars depending on the exact condition and demand at the time of sale. Error coins, on the other hand, can command significantly higher prices, and there have been documented cases where Lincoln pennies with dramatic errors have sold for thousands of dollars, especially when the error is visually striking and well preserved. And this is why collectors are so passionate about finding these anomalies, because they represent a rare break from the standard production process, making each one unique and highly desirable. It's also important to understand the role of auctions in determining a coin's value, because unlike fixed-price markets, auctions allow collectors to compete for rare items, often driving prices higher based on demand. And if a particularly unique 2000D penny were to appear at auction with strong interest from multiple buyers, its final price could exceed expectations. And this is one of the reasons why extraordinary valuations sometimes occur, not because the coin is inherently worth that amount in all cases, but because the right buyers were willing to pay a premium at that moment. The idea of a $12 million value attached to a 2000 penny likely stems from a combination of speculation, misinformation, and the excitement surrounding rare coin discoveries, because while it is not impossible for a coin to reach such a value, it would require an extremely rare and historically significant error, possibly one of a kind, combined with intense demand and media attention, and even then, such a sale would be considered extraordinary and widely documented in the numismatic world. Despite this, the dream remains alive for collectors, because history has shown that incredible discoveries can happen, and coins that were once overlooked have later been recognized as rare and valuable, and this sense of possibility is what keeps the hobby thriving, encouraging people to look more closely at the coins they encounter every day, turning something as simple as spare change into a potential gateway to discovery. There is also a growing interest in modern coin collecting, especially among younger collectors who are drawn to the accessibility of coins like the 2000 penny, because unlike rare ancient coins that require significant investment, modern coins can be found in circulation, making the hobby more approachable, and as more people become interested, the demand for high-quality and error coins continues to grow, gradually influencing their market value over time. And perhaps one of the most compelling aspects of this journey is the realization that value is not always just about money, because for many collectors, the true reward lies in the hunt itself, the excitement of discovery, the knowledge gained along the way, and the connection to history that each coin represents, and whether your 2000 penny turns out to be worth 1 cent or something far more. The experience of exploring its story is something that cannot be measured in dollars alone. As we approach the final part, we will dive into expert tips, hidden secrets that only seasoned collectors know, and a powerful conclusion that brings together everything you need to understand about this coin, including how you can start your own search and possibly uncover a hidden treasure of your own. As we reach the final stretch of this journey into the world of the 2000 penny, everything begins to come together in a way that transforms how you see even the smallest coin in your hand, because by now you understand that this is not just a piece of loose change, it is a product of history, precision, and possibility. And what separates an ordinary penny from an extraordinary one is often just a tiny detail that most people would never even notice, and that is exactly why the greatest discoveries are usually made by those who take the time to look closer, to question what others ignore, and to remain patient in a world that often moves too fast to appreciate such small things. One of the most powerful strategies used by experienced collectors is consistency, the habit of checking every coin that passes through their hands, whether it comes from daily transactions, bank rolls, or old collections stored away for years, because the truth is, rare coins are not always found in special places. Sometimes they are hiding in plain sight, mixed in with ordinary change, waiting for someone observant enough to recognize their uniqueness. And this is why many collectors develop routines, setting aside time to examine coins under proper lighting, using magnification tools, and organizing their findings carefully so that nothing is overlooked. Another key insight that seasoned collectors understand is the importance of knowledge, because the more you learn about coins, the easier it becomes to spot something unusual, and this includes understanding minting processes, recognizing common error types, staying updated with market trends, and even following auction results to see what collectors are currently interested in, because the coin market is constantly evolving, and what might seem insignificant today could gain attention in the future as new discoveries are made and collector interest shifts. Storage and preservation also play a crucial role in maintaining a coin's value, because even if you find a high-quality 2000 penny, improper handling can quickly reduce its condition and, in turn, its worth, and this is why collectors use protective holders, gloves, and controlled environments to keep their coins safe from damage, moisture, and oxidation, ensuring that the coin remains as close as possible to its original state, Because in the world of coin collecting, condition is everything, and even the smallest scratch or fingerprint can make a noticeable difference. Now, as we revisit the idea of extreme valuations, like the widely circulated claim of a 2000 penny being worth $12 million, it becomes clear that while such figures capture attention and fuel excitement, they should be approached with a balanced perspective, because the real value of a coin is determined by a combination of rarity, condition, demand, and authenticity. And while it is theoretically possible for a truly unique and extraordinary coin to reach such heights, the vast majority of 2000 pennies will never come close to that level, and understanding this helps you stay grounded while still enjoying the thrill of the hunt. But here is where the story takes on a deeper meaning, because the true magic of the 2000 penny is not just in its potential price, it is in what it represents, a reminder that value can exist in the most unexpected places, that something small and often ignored can carry significance far beyond its appearance, and that sometimes the act of searching itself is just as rewarding as the discovery. Because every coin you examine adds to your knowledge, sharpens your eye, and brings you one step closer to that moment when you might find something truly special. Imagine the feeling of holding a coin that others have passed over countless times, only for you to notice a subtle detail, a slight doubling, an unusual strike, or an exceptional condition, and realizing that you have discovered something rare, something valuable, something that tells a story that few others have seen, and in that moment, the ordinary becomes extraordinary, and a simple penny becomes a symbol of curiosity, persistence, and the rewards of paying attention. For beginners, the journey can start with something as simple as checking the coins in your pocket, learning the basics, and gradually building your knowledge, while for experienced collectors, the 2000 penny remains a reminder that even modern coins can hold surprises, and that the hunt is never truly over, because new discoveries are always possible. And the world of coin collecting continues to evolve with each passing year. And so, as this story comes to an end, it leaves you with a question that lingers in your mind. The next time you come across a penny, will you see it as just 1 cent, or will you pause for a moment, take a closer look, and consider the possibility that it might be something more, something rare, something valuable, something waiting to be discovered, because in the end, the difference between an ordinary coin and an extraordinary one is not always in the coin itself, but in the eyes of the person who chooses to truly see it.